Good morning everyone. So this morning we're at a Jaguar. It's a Jaguar F-Pace 2 litre diesel, all-wheel drive, and it's a 2016 model. So the customer's complaint with this one is they were sitting at traffic lights and the next thing the engine cut out. It came up with various things on the dashboard. They'll just run through. EBD fault, emergency brake assist not available, tyre pressure monitoring system fault, engine temperature indication fault, gearbox fault, HDC not available, system first, power steering assistance reduced, ABS fault, two-wheel drive only traction reduced, stability control not available, AEB disabled, forward alert not available, limiter standby, and the door's open. So there we go. So this is the big unit here. So always very important when you do a car like this is to put your stable power supply on, Roddy.
Your new one.
Your new one. Excuse me. So for a challenge such as this will come in handy. I've no idea how many amps it's putting at the moment, but we'll go and check the scan tool to see if we're keeping our voltage up there. But I think for this one, handy piece of kit. So a quick check I done was I plugged in my little breakout box, and you can see there we're getting 13.2 volts. That's good. So let's go to the scan, right? And the first thing we can see, no communication with ECM, ABS. I don't know what that one is. Don't know what that one is, or traction control motor, right? So therein we have a problem. And you can see up here, that's on the CAN high-speed line. So this system topology I think is going to help us in this case. So let's go into the system list and just have a quick look and see what it's complaining about. So there we go, a U0001-87 CAN high-speed CAN communication bus. So there's something up with the CAN communication bus. That one's worried. Gateway module, it's complaining about generator control module, battery monitoring module, quiescent relay box, vehicle communication bus A. So when I see that, you're like, ooh, maybe a voltage issue, something powered down. This one, CAN high-speed communication, tyre pressure monitoring module, what's it saying? CAN high-speed communication, in-touch control, CAN high-speed communication. It's complaining about USB port 2. I wonder if there's anything dodgy plugged into USB port, bring the whole thing down, don't know. HVAC's complaining about local interconnection network bus D, and blower, controller, and image processing module. CAN speed, CAN bus performance, high speed CAN communication bus, blah blah blah, there we go. The rest are all there, but the ones we can't speak to, the ECM, TCM, ABS, gear shift module, that'll be this down here, and what else? The restraints, occupant module, so there's a rake. So what I was thinking was, we definitely have a CAN issue. So if I just a quick look at our box, we have communications on pin 6 and 14. You can see 14's flashing, so that'll be one of our CAN lines. And then we must have another CAN communication on, or some communication on pin 1, pin 3, and pin 12. So we need to see a wiring diagram to see what leg and what bus are these on, and how many buses we have down at the DLC. Because this could be one of them that it's like a dummy DLC, they call it, and then it goes through and it breaks into the proper communication line. So hopefully I can get a wiring diagram. But what we can do here first of all, incidentally this thing is stuck in drive, is that right, Roddy?
Some drive anyway.
Stuck in some drive. So let's see if we can clear the list. You can communicate with it then. So it gets rid of all these. So it says high-speed CAN communication fault and high-speed CAN communication fault. So to me there's something disrupting that CAN line. And the big culprit usually is your ABS module. So if we could locate the easiest one first, we could maybe disconnect it and see if we have communicado. But let's go back. Oh yes. So we'll just go into all scan. We'll go into this one here. we'll say OK. I'd assume it wouldn't have any communication at all. Failed. We're not going to get anything. Because a new car like this, a 2016, would be communicating on the CAN bus protocol. So the rest will be an absolute waste of time. As we said, we cannot communicate with the ECM. So maybe the best idea is to go and just maybe check a sensor to see if we have power at the ECM and take it for there or not. Better maybe just to do a research in the wire diagram. Before we went to the wiring diagram, we thought we'd have just a quick visual, which is very important. As I was reminded at the weekend, Keith DeFazio is back, and the amount of things that guy can find with his eyes, unbelievable. Anyway, so there we go, there's the ECM just right there, and I think we can see down there, see that red tab? One hand into there. There's where the ABS module is. So just for a quick check, we could maybe just disconnect the ABS module and see if it comes back, because what we were thinking was this lies right under this scuttle, and there's a fuse box there as well, so if we can get access to that, maybe worth the doing. So I went back to my original plan. So we disconnected the map sensor, and I'm just checking to see if we have power to it. So I've ran along each of these 4 pins, and believe me, there's no power. So if we go to the first one, there's nothing there. So that's into the brown wire. Let's go to the next one. One hand job. Nothing on the next one, that's a green. So nothing. Oh. Nothing on that wire as well. That's another green with a white trace. And then the last one, I think that was reading blank. That's reading 0 volts, and that's the blue wire. So it's like the ECM is not even powered up. We do have the ignition on. So I've already found this fuse box, and you can see the top right is engine management, fuse 11 and fuse 12. And what we done was, that's the 2 of them there. We fed them power, just go to do it, Roddy, and then they can listen to it. If you feed one of them power and you listen to the engine bay, you can hear it spooling up. It's clicking up, right? And the other one actually. You can hear it clicking, so the ECM is coming to life. And you can hear the fan actually, it's spinning up as well. But what we did discover when we were in the car, it then cuts the ignition. So it must be an anti-tamper-proof thing it does that. So we're back to chasing our tail again. Why is it no powering up? And what's up with this bus? So we've left this car locked for 5 minutes. And you can see it's went to sleep. So when I take the key and we open it, see that all these things come to life. But here's a concern. I don't know if I was doing this before, so when we put our key down there, we press the start button, watch the dash. Comes on, it swipes the needles, then it goes right off. So the dash was staying on before, but it's no longer staying on. Unless it's getting... Press my finger on it, keep it there. No. And that was staying on before. And this was staying on. Right, update. So we felt we had to start somewhere chasing this network. So we went in here, removed the wipers and went under this cowling. And you can see under there is a multi-plug for the ECM. Now these are all spotless. Spotless. And there's a big fat connector there. You can see that's just like Ford. So that's a good connector as well. So we disconnected them, redone the scan tool test, and we still cannot communicate with any of the other systems like ABS. So the next thing we're going to do is disconnect the ABS if we can do it and see if there's any difference. Right, so we've disconnected the, let's see, the ABS module, and still it's the same result. So what we could do is put the ECM multi-plugs back on and just see if there's any difference. We'll try that, Roddy, yeah? With the ECM plug back in, still not got any communication. So I hits back in, still can't communicate with it, but the ABS is still unplugged. So no difference whatsoever. So I thought it was time for a swap of scan tools, and you can see we're getting exactly the same issue. We cannot talk to the engine or the ABS or the gear selector or the transmission. So, well, funny enough, that gives OBD a tick. So it's like he was talking to them. I don't know. But this does not give you a list of what it cannot talk to, so let's go back here again. So we know we can't speak to the transmission. So watch this. So it did exactly that. Look, it timed out and there's no communication. Right, at last, a breakthrough. So Roddy the man fed that fuse there, fuse 25, right? And that fuse 25, as you can see there at the bottom, in fact, is it fuse 25? There's a 25 amp, it's fuse 27, that's for transmission control. So when he done that, we managed to talk to all these modules, ECM, IPC, TCM, and even the GSM, gear shift module. So I reckon if we feed constant power to that, we should be able to start this machine once we plug the ABS back in, because the ABS is maybe part of the mobiliser system. So our issue has to be a feed to this fuse box. Now I'm going to show you something else we've checked. So we checked, we're in the boot, the luggage compartment, as Americans would call it. And when we went into here, under this cover, there's various fuses. See that? And we've checked all of these, and these are all good. So our problem's somewhere, these cables run up to the front, so whether we're not getting authorization to power it, or I don't know what's going on here. But there's another check we made. Right, we're powering that fuse. You can see now we've got power up here, so we'll put that in and we'll go to, oh, wonder how you do that, Roddy. Still thinks it's in D. Parking brake. That's it off. No, I powered it off, my man. He's back on. Did you still got power on that?
I do. It clicked off there before we did.
So did it burst the amps? So it's a new morning, everybody. So thought about it over the night and checked out a few wiring diagrams. Well, that's a problem. Trying to get wiring diagrams for this thing is a nightmare. So I've got a wee app on my phone called Carmen, and I went and checked another model because you can't get an F-pace. If you want proper wiring diagrams, the man who knows everything, Dave Sterling, says you need to go to, is it Tropics? T-R-O-P-I-X, and that's Jaguar Land Rover wiring diagrams. But anyway, our problem is a feed issue, and I'm going to show you something here. So back at the battery, we have this, put my light on, we have this fuse box. So you have all these fuses. There's a 250 amp fuse, 50, 50, 40, 60, and these are the big ones that go at the front. So there's a 225 amp fuse, and there's a 450 amp fuse. Now that one's for the starter motor. So we're actually following this leg, right? And this is the one that goes to the front. So watch this. See when I came up here. I don't know if this is a problem yet, but look. That connection in there is wobbly, where that one's nice and tight. So
that's one issue. So where that takes a dive to, I do not know.
So what we discovered was this fuse box here has no feed, right? There was no power going to that. We agreed with that yesterday. And even checked the relay. This is the engine management relay. On pin 80, no, pin 30, there's no constant power. So this is a big red connector that goes into that box. So what we done, we fed that power going into that red connector and the car started. So we have a connection issue between this fuse box and all the way to the back, and I'll show you where I think it comes in. That red connector there as well, we fed that power and the car started as well. So we're wondering, does it go for this side, the driver's side here in the UK, and takes a dive back, or is there a connector underneath the wheel here? So the hunt is on, but it's good that it starts, so let's keep going. Update. It's the main power supply cable coming into the fuse box. That's what we've discovered. So what I done was took this inner wheel arch off at the driver's side here in the UK, and you can see in there, this is where all the connectors come in. So the bottom ones is my starter motor. So if I probe into there, it does work, believe me. There we go. We've got power there, and we've got power there, and we've got power at the other one as well. But when we go to the top stud, which feeds the fuse box, there's no power. So what I'm going to do is take a jump lead and go right onto that stud, and the car will start. So my problem is between here and going to the back of the car. That's now. We have life. So you can see that the black lead underneath here feeding power. If I disconnect it, the thing cuts off. So let's go that way. So we took the rear wheel off, as you can see. Oh, and this is buried. Let's see. So you see the red wires in. Oops. See the red wires in there, and then they then go up into a box, which is at the top of the screen there. I don't know how we're going to get access to this. And what we'll do is take the connection off the top and see if we can pull it through.
So this car requires a loom from the connection block at the back, which goes underneath the car where the corrosion is, all the way to the front at the driver's front wheel arch. Now it's on back order at Jaguar, and I don't know when they'll be getting it in, but to me that is the only solution, unless you could do a quick connect job there at that connector. But that's not what the customer is wanting, because this is a new car, it's only 6-year-old. So as I say, back order £320 plus VAT, so we'll need to wait for it coming in, and then I'll give you part 2. But seemingly it is a common issue on this car, so one to watch out for in a Jaguar F-Pace.